Hey, what's up? This is episode 24 of the Throwaway Days podcast. I'm Cody Jones, and this is my podcast. This episode we have on OneWerd. OneWerd is a rapper from, he even told me in the interview, and I don't remember exactly, but like San Francisco, Berkeley, the Bay Area, I don't know. I'm from the Rust Belt, dog. It all seems the same to me. But yeah, he's the man. I originally met him, I don't know, maybe it was 2 years ago or so. He was touring through Pittsburgh with JB Nimble and Dan Dillinger. They played I booked him at Rock Room, like I booked pretty much all my shows in Pittsburgh. And it was cool, they were cool dudes. It was the last night of their tour, I think. And he had to fly back home the next day to get to his day job. So we didn't really get to yuck it up that much. But maybe like 6 months later, I was in Reno visiting family, and the three of them were all touring through Reno, and they were playing Ruben's Cantina, and I weaseled my way onto that show, and it was tight. We actually got to like talk a little bit of that show and get to know each other a little better, and we just kind of stayed in touch with then. We just kind of stayed in touch since then. That's what I meant to say. But yeah, he's cool. He's a super nice dude. It was cool for me too. I got to talk to him about some like random West Coast rap that I don't get to talk to a lot of people from, just cause like I was such a nerd on the internet. I knew like no boundaries of like, you know, listening to stuff that was regional. But it was cool to finally, I think he's like probably the furthest away person I've interviewed. How do I want to say that? I don't know how I want to say that. If I want to say that, it doesn't really matter. But I interviewed him, and it was cool. And it was like a really quick interview because he was on tour with Dan Dillinger, and they were driving across Pennsylvania to Trenton, New Jersey. And they had about an extra hour to kill, so they cruised in my place. It was the night I was about to watch my brother on X Games, so I was a little toasted. But we busted out this real quick interview with OneWerd. I didn't get one with Dan Dillinger because we didn't have time for two, and I don't like interviewing two people at once. I just think it's an even worse interview with both of them. So I'd rather just focus on one person. So that's what we did. So hopefully I'll have a Dan Dillinger one eventually. Like he chimes in a few times, but not a lot. But yeah, I assume that's why you're here, to hear the OneWord interview and not my ramblings at the beginning of this. But now you're going to hear him. So after OneWord left Pittsburgh, I watched my brother on TV that night. And then later that week, I caught a bus to Atlantic City, and then I rode my bicycle from there to Stone Harbor, New Jersey to meet up with my family. Was on vacation, and my car was broke down. So I biked like 40 miles to get there, hung out with them for a few days, took the bus home, and then I Alive and I went on a 4-day tour for Four to the Floor. If you've followed me on any social network or listened to this podcast or anything like that, you probably saw me spamming it a little bit. It was cool. We did 4 dates around mostly his work schedule. My work schedule is pretty loose. But we played York, PA, which was terrible. I'm sure if you ever looked at a map, you could have guessed that. We learned that York fought for the South in the Civil War, which was super fucked up. Just a weird town in general. Don't really want to ever go back, but I probably will because they have an awesome skate park. And we played Cincinnati, which was awesome. Charleston, West Virginia, which was awesome, and Westchester, PA, which was pretty good. So that was cool. And then I was back in Philly for a while, and I just played a show with Spoken Nerd maybe last Thursday. First time I met that dude from Nashville. Been hearing of him forever, and I was able to get an interview with him after the show. So that'll be the next interview out. But after the show with Spoken Nerd, I drove to Sunbury, PA the next morning. I was supposed to have a skate jam with my company, Internet Skateboards, and like a timber skate shop. But it rained, so I just stopped in real quick, said what's up, and then I kept on driving up to Rochester, New York, where I stopped at Crudco Skate Shop, which is like a core skate shop in Rochester since 1994. I dropped a few boards off there, and then my brother had a Nitro Circus live show. I watched that, drank too many beers that night, got up early, biked around Rochester, skateboarded, and then Sunday I went to Erie because my brother had a show in Erie with Nitro Circus. And I skated with the dudes at Arc Skate Shop. And then from there, since I don't have a real work schedule, I drove to Warrendale, where I'm from, right outside of Pittsburgh, and I've been there all week. Working in my dad's garage again, seeing family, stopping at One Up skate shop, trying to skate when it's not raining. And it's been cool. And I'm about to head back to Philadelphia in a few days and work on my next tour with I Alive, the next Four to the Floor, which is in October, and it's mostly through New York. So right now we have Tuesday, October 2nd, I Alive and I are playing at Kung Fu Necktie with Mike Lanny. Thursday, October 4th, we'll be in Brooklyn, New York at Much More's with my very main man, Blastmaster Baker. I haven't played a show with him in a long time. One of Head Trip's groups is playing. It might be Lieutenant Head Trip, it might be Bald Afro, I can't remember exactly. Some other people, and then we're on the brink of locking down some shows in like Ithaca and Syracuse and stuff like that. So if you're anywhere in New York and you want us to come through, holler at us, we'll do it. But yeah, I don't know. What else do I have to say? Nothing? Yeah, not really anything to say. So let's just go into this interview with OneWerd. It's cool. I hope you like it. Subscribe on iTunes if that's your thing. You know, let people know about the podcast if you're into it. But if you're not into it, don't tell anyone. All right, this is the interview with OneWerd. All right, thanks. See ya. Let's just dive right into it, I guess, since you guys are on the schedule.
Cool.
You're OneWerd. You're from, is it San Francisco, the Bay?
Yeah, Bay Area, a little bit.
Is that all the same?
So the Bay Area, like, I can't fuck this up. So, like, you got the Bay, and it's like all the surrounding cities, and so you've got San Francisco, which is like, you know, the tip edge of like the peninsula inlet, and so I technically live on the peninsula, which is like 15-20 minutes south of the city.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that where you're from?
Yeah, that's where I'm from.
Cool.
I was born in San Francisco, but my family moved down to the peninsula.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's super sick. You ever listen to Z-Man?
Yeah, I'm
He's
familiar with Z-Man. Yeah, we're talking about doing a show.
Really?
Right now, I know he's on
Gerb
tour.
City.
Yeah, Gerb City. That's OGs
Yeah.
for sure.
One of the first shows I went to was like Z-Man and Lewis Logic were on tour.
Trip.
And I was in high school, and the dudes that I took with me had to like, yo, we gotta get home. Our parents are like freaking out.
Yeah.
So I got to see Z-Man, but then I left before Lewis Logic played.
Crazy.
But I was like 16. I was like, this Z-Man guy's dope.
Yeah.
But like, besides that, I like never see him anywhere. You know, it seems like he's like really just in San Francisco. And
He's an interesting cat, and I see him around, and so, you know, I've gotten to talk to him a bit, but like, he's one of those dudes that like, there's a few cats like that like, I get the impression that their history like goes deeper than I'm aware of. You know, he's like still a dude that's like, you know, local and like present on the scene and doing stuff. Like, he's on the Slap Frost tour right now, which is tight. Something they've been doing every year. But yeah, he's like a super chill dude, and he's dope. He's a dope performer.
yeah, he was great. It was so sick. It's funny too. I was like super into like the Anacon thing back in the day.
Yeah, me too.
I still am.
Yeah.
But there was.
Did you see the post from the show the other day?
No.
I got to kick it with Dose One. We opened up for.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
That dude's been like, I named my cat after him. So.
Yeah. I was like, damn, he's putting it all out.
Right. Yeah. Typical rap story.
Yeah.
So.
I'm like, no, it was Dose Now, not Dose One, different Dose. Don't fight at yourself. But yeah, that Z-Man, the first Z-Man CD I got had a couple, like, it was like subtle, like Anacon, like jabs almost. Like when I'm not busy getting dissed by Anacon fans.
Crazy.
I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, I like both.
Yeah, I'm a big Anacon fan, and like they like, you know, which is a blanket statement because that's a lot of different people and a lot of different styles, and so you know, I'm not aware of all of it, but like there's certain like pockets and records that like had like and still do have like a huge influence on me. Dose is one of them. Alias from Anacon is like, as a producer, is like one of.
Dude, he's been talking about him.
All the producers on Anacon, well, not all,
Gel.
but like Gel is great, dude.
Fucking beast. Yeah. But it's interesting because like there was the whole like Bay Area underground scene.
They all moved there for a while.
Yeah.
Did you have any affiliation?
I was
doing shows then?
tangential to that a little bit. I think I'm
You
using
just
that
guys
word
are
right.
teaching.
Yeah, right. Like, I know enough vocab to get me in trouble. Fucking.
I don't even know what that means.
Like, I was like adjacent, like in proximity time wise to that. Like, I had homies in college that had copped like the original Living Legends and Anticon tapes that were basically being sold hand to hand to Amoeba Records.
Okay.
And so
I
they
hear
were
that
like,
name all the time.
yeah, so like that was the spot. Like it's like the dope record shop in Berkeley and SF, and
Is it
was
still there?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
cool.
still there.
They almost closed down, right? Or they were getting threatened or something like that.
I don't know what the deal is. Like, they're one that like so many record shops get closed, but they're one of the ones that like, I never really hear word about them shutting down at all, which is tight.
Yeah.
But they were like crucial because they had this whole tape section where like that was like a big thing in like that like kind of like 90s underground scene where like cats were making these 4-track tapes hand to hand, just doing hand drawn art and trading that shit. And Amoeba was one of those places that would buy up those tapes and distribute them, and my homies had those and were like kind of trying to put me onto that shit.
Okay. So you were like at least active when all that was happening.
That I wasn't super active, but like it was an underground Living Legends tape. Like we were talking about like old influences, and like I was talking about how like Method Man was like one of the first ones where I was like, oh, this dude's so fucking dope. But like Legends were like the first one where I heard this stuff and I was like, oh, like I could do that.
Yeah.
Like I mean, Method Man, Method Man, like the Wu-Tang, like they're like like Hustler, like that was some like heavy like street New York rap.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, that's dope. But like I felt like Legends was like doing something where I was like I identified with it a little bit more directly and felt like, this is like more my voice a little bit. So,
yeah. That's cool. Yeah. So what was your I'm trying to like get a range now. We didn't quite start at the beginning. So you're from I'm gonna mess it up already. Like the San Francisco Bay Area?
The peninsula, yeah.
Peninsula.
SF Bay Area, you'd say the
all,
region is the peninsula.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And you were like into all this rap as it's happening, right? But you weren't necessarily like involved in making it?
No, I wasn't. I was on just the like I would say kind of like the tail end of that peak is where I started like freestyling. Like the Legends were like around still at that point, and Anticon was still around at that point, but I wasn't necessarily like going to those shows,
right?
Like meeting those dudes and like seeing them perform. Like when I really started like actually seeing them and like really like digesting and absorbing that music, it was like kind of as they had gotten to the next tier.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
So what was like your introduction? Like once you started doing it, you just had like some homies that were making music and you wanted to like dive in a little bit, or what?
It was open mics. Like the first thing that I was exposed to, like the first thing that I really saw was they had a open mic, like a freestyle open mic on Haight Street at the spot called Rockin' Java. And yeah, man, but it was dope. Like there was a lot of like legit people that came through there. Like I was talking to Chesky, and Chesky was like aware of that shit and like went through and rocked there as well.
Well, he lived out west for a while too, though, right?
He's from out there.
Yeah,
he was born out there.
Okay, it's always
and grew up there till he was like 10, I think he told me.
Okay.
And then he moved out to Connecticut after that
Trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like.
But he played there as well.
He was aware of it. Like he talked about it, that he was like aware of that as like a freestyle cypher spot, which was like unusual at the time. Like it wasn't. That was kind of like people weren't really like doing shows, and like that's why I think that like tape trading thing was kind of a big deal, because like if you had a 4-track, if you had beats, if you had songs, like that was unusual then.
Yeah.
So like these freestyle open mics, it seemed like were kind of like the main venue for hip hop to kind of happen.
Yeah. Kind of like the Good Life in like LA.
Exactly.
You had the Java. What was it?
Rockin' Java.
Rockin' Java.
Yeah.
And that's cool. It's like a coffee spot.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I don't know. It's like. like I'm drinking a beer right now, but I'm like, if you're like at a bar, you're really not doing like too many positive things for your community. I just feel like if you're like, oh, I got this coffee shop, I want people to like get up early and go and get it. It's all like, oh, I got this bar and I want to like make the bars open till 4 a.m. I want you plastered. Like, what's up?
Yeah.
Sell these beers. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Rockin' Java. I'll have to like look more into that.
That was some old school shit. And there were like, you know, ciphers at bars too, and you know, I think even after Rockin' Java there were a couple like random spots, and it was all freestyle stuff.
Yeah.
So
are you pretty good at freestyling? Like, is that how you got your chops at least?
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I like freestyling.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Did that work out for you last night at the...
It did, yeah. It
show?
was fun, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got a couple where I got open a little bit, so
Yeah.
He was killing it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Staying
I was like,
modest.
oh shit. I'm just gonna sit over here on the couch and not get anywhere close to the mic because I can't freestyle.
Yeah.
But he was killing it. It was
That's
dope.
cool, man.
you gotta step up, Dillinger.
Yeah.
And I was saying to them, like, it's always weird to me to try to communicate that to people who are doing that kind of thing, because like I said, you know, like we started talking about, that's the first thing I talked about, and like that's how I was introduced to rap and hip hop. My start in it was through ciphers, and like feeling like that there was like a certain like just like, I don't want to say ethic or like etiquette, like rules around that like it was meant to be. You know, there's still like battle stuff that comes up, but ultimately like the point is to like create this like group.
The circle.
Yeah.
Like there's like a camaraderie that comes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So how old were you whenever you were starting to like perform and things like that? Were you like of age, or was the coffee shop? Were you?
It was way
because
later. It was
Yeah.
way later. It was way later. Like,
did you make music younger, or rap was like the first thing you really dove into?
I did like shitty little like garage bands and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You know.
What'd you play?
I played guitar.
Nice.
Yeah. Tried to sing Metallica. You know?
Really?
Yeah.
Tight.
Metallica.
Yeah.
You want to give us a little preview or
No.
I got a
Oh,
an
guitar.
example?
We'll plug it in.
I got some tapes in the fucking closet that
In
my
the
little
art
sister
center.
has
Tapes
found and
too? That's
fucking
awesome.
made fun of me. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's not good.
But rap was like the first one you really like went for.
Rap was the first one where I felt like this is my thing, you know. And yeah, it started with those ciphers. It started with, you know, freestyling in college, and then, you know, going to these open mics and stuff, and then, you know, started like going towards like trying to make songs. We had some homies that made beats, and getting a 4-track just to be able to like actually record and create stuff.
Oh wow, you guys are doing it on 4-track? Like
Yeah, started
was
on that. Yeah,
cool.
I loved that shit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
I feel like that makes you like way more polished. You're like, all right, like
This is it.
yeah. The first, not the first verse I recorded. Well, I don't know, but the first one I remember recording with like dudes I'm friends with now, I did like 100 takes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they would be like, dude, you're cut. Like unless you want to bring some tapes in, you're done.
Freestyling, like, to me, freestyling and 4-track recording went hand in hand, because like you just kind of like learn, I think, an innate rhythm a little bit, and then like there isn't like, for me, there wasn't just one way to spit the verse. Like if I had to switch up the rhythm, and who knows, maybe that's just bad rapping.
Oh no, that's
you
cool.
know.
Yeah, because if you got a different beat or something, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I started that
Just-
way where I was writing hella much, so like you'd switch out beats to spit
Yeah.
it, but like, you know, to me, like there wasn't just one way of spitting it, so it's like, it's not like I had to say it this way each time. You know, if I had to switch up the rhythm a little bit, you know, for each take just to make it fit, like
Yeah.
I was okay with that. Maybe I was just bad. I don't
Yeah.
know, like
I mean,
sloppy.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So you're like college age, starting to do like these shows and stuff.
Mhm.
But I imagine it's like a while before you're like still like, there's like this DIY scene that we're all like immersed in right now.
Mhm.
What did it take for you to become involved with that?
Fuck, man. I don't know, dude. Like, I think about that. Like there were a couple like weird benchmarks. I know like the first shows I ever started throwing, like putting together shows to really, and that's like where I really like started performing, was like I put together shows to be able to perform.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't remember where I got the idea for that. I think it was you ever heard of Listener? You know who Listener
Yeah,
is
dude,
from Deep
he's
Space
great.
Five? He's
Yeah,
fucking
Dan,
rad, right?
What's his? Dan Smith.
Dan Smith, yeah, the Dance Smith.
And he used to be in Deep
Space Five.
Yeah.
Deep Space Five, yeah.
Sorry.
They're super dope. But I opened up for him one time in SF, and like it was like in like the basement of a church or something like that, and he was doing like I think it was modeled after like Pedro the Lion, but he was doing like a tour of living rooms where he was basically.
I remember that tour.
Yeah, man. And like to me that was just like the fucking coolest idea. Like I'm gonna take a fucking PA and I'm gonna go perform in whatever fucking context I can in order to like make this happen. And he was. Have you seen him before?
Oh,
live?
He's great.
He's fucking badass,
Yeah.
right? Like he's.
I've seen him like perform for like people our age and kill it, and I've seen him like at a church performing for like 40-year-old women
Yeah.
who love it.
Yeah.
Like, they don't care about rap or like folk or anything, and he just crushes it.
He's just like a compelling like person and performer and story.
Like a passionate individual. It's like, wow, this dude's like sweating this music out right now.
Yeah.
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 But so you saw him.
So I saw that and like just the idea of like because I didn't know shit about like venues or fucking headliners or fucking any of the shit that goes into like doing it on a more like formal or I don't know if you want to say professional level. And so like that was like I was like I just want to do this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was exciting to me and so like I started doing that. Like our first spot was Brainwash, which is a cafe kind of venue laundromat in
Cool.
SF.
Oh,
so,
that's really cool.
Yeah, it was fun. It was dope. So we did shows there for like a good long while and
Is that why you like coffee so much? Your start was just
fucking
job it up.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Well, I gotta support the venue. I guess they'll get what's a double frappuccino?
Yeah.
That's cool though, man. Yeah, the DIY thing was just like it's so compelling. It's like, wait, you're just making it happen no matter what happens. Like I've seen, like for me, I saw Hike Keach. Have you played with him before?
I know the name.
Yeah, I don't know how often he makes it out. I mean, he has made it out west, but like he's like regional phenomenon, like kills it. But like I remember seeing him pull up venue or a PA in his van, and like even if the venue had a PA, he's like, oh yeah. I'm gonna use mine. And he just like bumped so hard.
Tight.
And, like he the first couple times he was like a one-man show. Like he showed up himself with a boombox, and
Love
then
it.
every time I saw him, it was just like, oh, I got these girls who want to sing and shake an egg shaker, and then like, oh, I got these dudes that play this live, and like it just like builds up. I'm like, oh my god, I can do this. Like it can be done.
Yeah.
And it's just like a DIY grind. It's great.
And I think like as you get further into actually throwing shows, there's on different levels or different tiers, like there's a lot of reward that comes with that too, but like there's a lot of challenge and pressure and politics and things that in my experience like can get sketchy. And so like having something that it's just like I'm gonna make this happen no matter what, and like fuck all that other shit, like we're gonna have a show and like there's gonna be music and people are gonna rock out.
Yeah. Were you bringing in like out of town acts, or like I feel like okay, wow.
Yeah, that was the fucking
That's
MySpace
like a lot of
days.
pressure. Okay.
And man.
I pretty much missed MySpace. Tell me, dude.
You're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm lucky I missed it. I don't know, man. I feel like
MySpace was fucking dope
I
when it was
hated
cracking,
MySpace. I
dude.
hated MySpace.
Yeah.
MySpace sucks balls, but now it does. But like,
I didn't even know it was still a thing.
It's
yeah,
out there,
kind
you
of.
know?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah. I feel like every artist that's like successful in like the DIY grind now
Yeah.
got their jump off on MySpace.
I found fucking Astronautilus, like so much of Anticon's music I really absorbed through fucking MySpace, like Radical Face, like all these dudes like Listener and cats like that. Like I really like. It was the first place where it was like really like social connection, and then the music was embedded right into it, and then like you had access to like contact artists directly,
and the artist could contact you directly too, as opposed to like Facebook. You can't really do that now. Which artists? Who are some of the highlight artists that you like brought through?
that came through there. I didn't really have headliners, so it was all kind of like local cats and folks like within our circle. And when it started out, man, it's going back a ways, but early on, I connected with some artists in Sacramento. And so when it was people from outside...
You had like Blacklist just come through?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Opened up for you?
Yeah, man.
All right,
Yeah.
stop the interview.
Yeah. Just put that part on loop for the whole...
Yeah. I love it.
There's one infamous person who came through that I kind of like don't even like necessarily want to mention because it's kind of like tough.
Yeah.
But I feel like now I've gotten into it. But there was this cat. Have you heard of Task One at all?
Task One?
Task One.
Task One. No.
They did a Complex article on him a little while ago. He like got busted for like the biggest like verse stealing.
Really?
He was like winning like the team backpack competition. He was from our region, and like he was like basically like from our region. He was this person that was kind of like next on. He was about to take off. His career was really picking up, and then it came out that like a fucking shit ton of his verses were all plagiarized.
Damn.
Yeah, so
He
it
was
was
just
like
stealing verses, basically.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And
so
I
it was
can't believe
intense.
nobody knew that
Dog,
shit,
have you
though.
heard of the internet? Like,
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah. As far as I understand it, like he like won the team backpack like competition, and so then they do a video where they do a cipher of like all the winners or whatever, and the verse that he spit as like the showcase, like this is going to be a YouTube video, it's going to get hundreds of thousands to millions of plays, and he used a verse that had stolen shit.
Oh my god.
So
That's awesome.
but I remember he came out, and like before his like whole career got started, like I vaguely remembered this, but like he like came through with some of these other Sacramento heads who were all like legit, and I remember him coming through and being like, "Yo, I'm Task One. I'm just getting started. If you're ever doing shows again, let me know."
Yeah.
So that was
Why
kind
don't
of
I
weird.
just call the actual artist?
Yeah, right.
Like,
Yeah.
You know what? I don't cut out the middleman here.
Yeah.
So you brought Task One through. Did you get to bring any of those like astronautists?
No, like
that?
I wasn't really connected with touring artists at the time, so
Okay.
there
It was
wasn't.
like regional stuff though.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So it was cool to make those connections with SAC, which was a little bit out of the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
And then since then, I mean, this is like fast forwarding like way beyond that, like much more recently, like in the last 2 years, we had a monthly that we were doing at a bar in the Soma district called the Showdown. We did a monthly called Builders, and so for that we brought out we had C. Ray Walls from
Yeah,
Def
I think I
Jux
saw that. Yeah.
Whoa.
came out for that,
I
so that was
forgot about
cool.
him.
Yeah, man.
I used to be into him like heavy in like 2001.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, this guy's so fucking sick, and he says whatever he wants. And he wears weird shit on his head. And I forgot about him.
I had a lot of people say that.
Well, he got locked up for a while, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
why he kind of disappeared for a few years.
I knew he was part of like a reality show, and I
Yeah,
think
he
someone
was on
mentioned
True
that.
Life. True Life, I want to be a rapper.
Which
Damn.
was after
MTV.
that, I think. Which was after him.
It was right after that, and he had
Like
this
that.
like ridiculous watch on. I remember that shit. And
Huh.
Yeah.
yeah, I can't remember what it was. It was cool.
Yeah.
I think he's from the Bronx or something like that.
Yeah.
But he still rocks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He's not getting a desk job. He's a rapper for life.
Yeah.
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 Oh,
he's
yeah.
like-
Dope freestyler.
Yeah.
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 Definitely.
No.
So C. Ray's Waltz. Who else?
We had him through. Who else did we had through? Alpha MC and Verbs from like swim team out of LA. Who do we have through? Alien Family. They're kind of like team backpack heads.
Oh, I know them.
Man, who else? Yeah, a lot of local cats.
Yeah.
So
That's cool, man. So you had like a monthly though. I'm sure that like helped you really get the ball rolling and probably everybody's hollering at your inbox.
it was good for, I think the main thing that motivated me with that was like DIY touring stuff, because that was kind of, it was after I was throwing one-off shows and having come back from a tour and like connected with a couple monthlies along the
And
way.
which tour was that you came back from? The one where you came out east and
Our
probably where I met you, or?
That was, yeah, that
Oh, that
was
was
where
ours?
we first connected.
Oh, okay.
The waiting room tour.
Yeah, that was
yeah,
the first one.
yeah.
Yeah. And then the second one after that, we did the Northwest. And,
Is that when I saw you guys in Reno too?
yeah, that was. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were there for both of
Yeah.
those. That's
Yeah.
a trip, man.
Yes.
Yeah. Man, this is like a reunion.
We were
I
right?
just
know.
talking about that Reno spot and
Yeah.
how sketchy it was.
Ruben's Cantina?
Yeah, like out
That
behind
was-
there, some dude was like, "Yeah, you got crack Like, he asked me if I was like, dude, no. I was like, no, I do not have crack.
Yeah. It was a rough neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an experience.
But so, yeah, you got back from that tour and probably just want to, like, kind of just, like, have something a little more stable to hook people up with? Or?
Yeah, exactly. Because, you know, I saw that, you know, this touring thing, like, particularly DIY touring, like, really connects off of people being able to, like, reciprocate and throw shows for each other. And it just works a lot better that way if I can say, look, you know, like, second Thursday or second Friday, like, this is already happening. If you're hitting me up, we can make this happen, or, you know.
And people will schedule around that, too. They're like, oh, if I can be, like, in the Bay Area or whatever, like, this date, like, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the difference if I have an LA show, a random LA show, or on a Tuesday or a Sunday? Like, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's cool, man. How did you guys meet, you and Dan Dillinger?
We connected on that first waiting room tour.
Yeah, JB Nimble kind of set the whole thing up. So,
Oh,
like,
because
they
he's
had...
kind of like, he's from both areas, right? Like, he lived in New York for a while?
He was living in New York, and he came to one of the shows that I was rocking at, like, when I first started, and he was like, yeah, I just moved to the city, like, I'm a rapper, you know, if you want to ever connect. And I heard his shit, and he was dope, so he asked me if he wanted to come on tour after they did their record together.
Right.
And I was like, fuck yeah, I'll come. So I met Tyler the first show, and that was it.
Oh, really? You didn't know him at all?
I had no
You
idea
were
who
on
he
the
was.
album, though.
I was on the record. I didn't even know I was on the record.
Yeah,
Jesse
yeah.
was, So Nimble was like, yo, you want to get on this track? Like, my boy sent it to me.
Yeah.
I didn't know who he was, and he made the beat. And I was like, this beat's fucking sick. So I got on the beat, and then I was like, all right, that's it. And then I was on the record.
Cool.
And then, yeah, it was awesome. So then that was it. And then we toured after that, like, 3 times.
Yep.
Or this is the 4th tour.
Yeah, we just had like a consecutive series of tours. There was that one, and then like that went super dope. And that was like I had like toured once before, but like not like, I don't know, for some reason that one felt like a little more official, a little more focused.
Yeah.
And so like before the tour was even done, I was like trying to book the next one, you know?
You have to, man, because it's like you have to do them so many months out.
Yeah. And it's kind of addictive too, a little bit. So.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I like. You know that dude Nick Oliver, that book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
I'm doing a short show run, like 4 days into the month, and like I finally got everything to piece together. Like last week, I'm like, dude, this is so addicting. Like,
Yeah.
I hate doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I like tweeted him that, and
Yeah.
someone was like, yeah, dude. It's like popping a pimple on your chest. Like, yeah, like, I don't want to do it, but like it feels good.
Yeah.
You know?
Nice. Oddly specific.
Yeah. So this makes me think. He was saying about he was on the beat that you made.
Mm-hmm.
You produce a lot. Did you produce your entire album? The new one you have? Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what was you did like a project or at least a track based all off samples you recorded while on tour?
Oh yeah, you caught that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
I saw you talking about it. I don't know if I ever heard the finished thing.
Dope.
What was the deal with that?
That was yeah, I don't know where the fuck I got the idea for that, but
It was a random thing because we were in Kingsburg.
yeah,
That was the first show at the Bullfrog. With
Remember this?
A-Hims.
recording the sprinkler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he just did that. He would randomly, like, you'd be in the middle of a conversation with him, he'd be like, hold on a second. And he'd go and, like, record some shit. I was like, I didn't even hear that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he just recorded all this weird shit.
All on your phone? Like how did you?
Yeah,
do it?
Party like doesn't even want to like give that away, but hella
Oh.
folks already know that. Like the iPhones, like their fucking like recording mic, like and the voice recorder on there is fucking crucial. Like it's really good, you know.
Okay.
And like one of the things in like, you know, particularly in like, you know, drum and bass and shit like that is they talk about using Foley samples and like layering stuff up, which is some like random recorded sound that you then layer into like a snare or a kick to add an extra layer of texture. You know, but you can fucking freak shit and like, you know, get crazy and like build a whole drum sound out of it. Or if it's something like melodic, you know, and you can like isolate one note, you can take that and put that in a sampler and like create a whole instrument out of it.
You can.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I created this whole beat where like, you know, the lead synth and like the general melody and like all the drum sounds. I think there's one there's an 808 kick drum that was an actual sample that
like
used.
hardly even counts though. It's like, yeah,
I'll take it.
I mean, it was, whatever.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
It's
right
like
on.
a Russian roulette of like tour. What do they call it? A rhythm roulette.
Rhythm
of
roulette.
tour.
Yeah.
Of tour.
Yeah, man.
That's really cool.
Thank you. That shit was fun.
I don't know how much. What are we looking at on time?
That's a good question.
It's 9:10.
What time you gotta go?
Around we got like 5 minutes.
Okay.
Cool.
So you guys are out on tour right now.
Mm-hmm.
Second East Coast tour I know with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
You're promoting I know, dude. I can recognize the art. I don't.
Becoming.
Know. Becoming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What should we expect from OneWerd in the future?
I got a bunch of projects that I'm working on right now. One that's like it's all done, it's mixed, and it's finished. It's got some like ill collaborations and features on it as well. I can't speak as to like where that's gonna come out because I'm trying to work on some stuff right now, and I don't want
trying to like get someone to put it out for you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
okay.
I don't want to jinx that, but it's gonna come out one way or another, and it's dope, and I'm super proud of it. And
I'm Def Jam.
I'm hoping
Or
I'm hoping Russell Simmons gives me the call back.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, Russell, shit is tight.
Holler.
Yeah.
Russell.
Something I wanted to ask. I played this track on my podcast a while ago. You produced the beat for Passage, right?
I did,
How
yeah.
did that come about?
Man, I'm hoping I'm gonna see him. Passage, Dover, New Hampshire is not that far.
Hey, he's not tuned in right now.
My dude. Yeah.
Wait, he's in the Northeast? Where is he?
Yeah, he's in
Maine, Vermont. you're
Vermont
saying,
right now.
Okay.
Yeah, he was
That's
in
where
New Hampshire
August
for a
is
minute.
from.
Yeah, he's from out here, and yeah, that was random. He like commented on one of my SoundCloud tracks one time, and I was like, oh shit.
R.I.P. SoundCloud.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll see. Chance the Rapper may have saved it,
Oh, Jesus.
but and I was like, yo, is this Passage from Anacon? He was like, yo, yeah, your beats are tight. And I was like, oh shit,
Yeah.
So I did a remix of one of the tracks from TV Loves You Back, and like they had like gotten this whole remix project started, and then I did a remix, and like it like prompted them to like release the remix album that they like weren't gonna do otherwise. So I was stoked on that, and then stayed in contact with Passage, and then we did one track together after that. Produced a beat for him, and yeah, man, I definitely want to work with that dude.
Yeah,
more.
that's really cool. That's
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's not in the grand scheme of things. It's not like.
It was a big deal for me. Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For like us, that's like a milestone.
Yeah.
Like, me getting to open for Soul and like you producing something for Passage, just like, dude.
Yeah.
We're indie rap making it.
Yeah, right. Totally, dude. Yeah.
That's
Fucking
cool,
made
man.
it.
I feel it.
So you
I feel
got
it.
waiting for that call back from Russell Simmons. What else?
Got some other solo stuff I'm working on. Dan and I got a project that we're kind of like in the formative phases on. We got beats that are done. He produces.
Cool.
I produce. So we're kind of like splitting the production duties on that.
Do you guys have a lot of time to write while on tour, or
Not really.
it's so tough, man?
I mean, I'm studying for my fucking TLC license to
I
drive for
love
Uber.
that group. Wait, what?
To
TLC?
drive for Uber. Yeah, you have to drive.
You were so keyed in on that, dude. You were like
I was
already
like, I
thinking
just
about
made a
TLC.
Yeah, no, but like, I don't know. So far, it's just been basically driving and then sleeping.
Okay.
And rapping, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's rapping. I'm just like rapping, but
Yeah.
not
So
as
just-
good as him right now.
Mm,
I'm just tired.
hey, man.
I need a big fat Red Bull and then I'll be good to go.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
You gotta do that tonight.
Well, that's sick, man. I don't want to hold you guys up too much because I know you're on your way to Trenton, but thanks for swinging through, doing this real quick.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm pumped to see what comes out in the future, and this definitely won't be out by the time your tour comes out. So, sorry.
Can I tell people where to find stuff?
Yeah, for sure, man.
Okay.
So holler at me online. SoundCloud if it's still around. ONEWERD. The newest project Becoming is on Acid Lab Records, so look for me there. Acid Lab Records Bandcamp, and OneWerd Becoming with B and a G. And,
Everything in between.
yeah, right.
Yeah, and all the letters in between.
Cool, man.
Cool.
Yeah, I might have a blog back up by then, so we can link it all up. So.
Cool, man. Tight.
When you dispel the feudal attitudes, produces funerals within your noodle. Mute 'em, tell 'em it's new developments, effusive elements. So use the tools you're well equipped with. Elephants that dream a little dream, and even little schemes and simple things convincingly can instantly exist. To be persistent, seeking inspiration, resist temptation to resist, embrace it, listen, place it in the place it fits it, face it, sit it, stay illicit, sacred. Written pages and complicit agents, advantageous in the mix arrangement. Auspicious occasions, often distant places based off what existence basis dawned upon my instinct. Ace in the hole for all occasions. All the game and all amazing holidays for all your days that follow. Take the fall of faith will follow fate. Swallow weight, call your job and say sorry, not today. I'm off and making awesome. My calling's beyond commonplace. All started with the sun, just a seed in a pond, but I chose to believe in it. And I gave it what it needed, sunlight to feed it. Started with a thought, just a tiny little dot, but I knew not to doubt it. Now the foundation where my house is a strong, well-grounded. What you ask for is a map of coordinates toward a path forged. Fast forward, orbit the pattern, the habits that afford. Borders, battered doors are shattered, adding more to catalogs. Bottled at the source, gathered habit for the travel along with the song. And you, strong sinews, bond tissues, skeletal system beyond that which you call visible. All physical symptoms of what's within, persistent listening to signals that's imprinted in you. Vigilance, due diligence, filaments imbued, fill them with the fuel that will eclipse the rules listed. Whose fist is this? Bruises limits with the tools enlisted, too sophisticated to just sit and wait. If the shoe fits, I'm hitting pavement. Begins one place within the cranium, and inner sanctum radiates. ADHD abated, what didn't aid it, inundated, database, strain extraneous agents. It all started with a thought. It's remarkable, ain't it? It all started with a sun, just a seed in a pond, but I chose to believe in it. And I gave it what it needed, sunlight to feed it. Started with a thought, just a tiny little dot, but I knew not to doubt it. Now the foundation where my house is a strong, well-grounded. Your bliss like it's all there is, the rest is all mirages. Till it bon voyage and lob the bomb and rockets, toss them all amidst. Calls to quit and falter logic, you are not the mistress that intoxicates my interest with the constant imprint. Unconscious dimension, conjure the strongest visions from beyond what is to visit. Dip the picture acquisition, access elixir, bring it back to linger, snap the finger. You may feel the slightest tingle tug behind your mind, or ring inside your ears, but when you hear the tone that's counted down from 10 to 1, you awake with lenses unobstructed from the energy the sun emits. Thus begins the chapter you have come to script. The reason you were written in, it came to be embraced. Take the picture frame, break it till it fills the space. Vision occupies and build it till you listen and gaze and touch and taste it. Like, isn't this amazing? Live within your inspiration. It all started with the sun,